We're done camping for the weekend and everyone's anxious to get on the road and get home. But first, we need to get our camper ready to travel. Today we'll share with you the steps we follow to safely and securely hitch your camper to your tow vehicle. First thing I would recommend for whenever you're going to hitch or unhitch your trailer is to have a checklist you follow. The checklist is really important so that you don't forget to do anything. Also, there are certain things that you should do in order. For example, you don't want to start jacking up your trailer before you raise up your stabilizers. You'll either smash the stabilizers or you'll burn up your jack. The other thing I like about the checklist is it gives everyone in the family something to do. Typically the kids take turns holding the phone and kind of being in charge and marking stuff off and kind of bossing people around, or take turns raising the stabilizers. So everyone gets involved and it's not just one person doing all the work. The other big tip I would suggest is just take your time. You're gonna be less prone to make mistakes if you take your time. We've gotten pretty efficient hitching up our camper. Typically I would say within 15 to 20 minutes we're usually on the road. But don't try to go fast. Really take your time, especially early on when you're still learning how to do your camper. So we'll get started with the checklist now. So the first thing on our checklist is really just finish up using the trailer. Make sure everyone gets a chance to use the restroom, or if someone needs to take a shower, you have dishes to wash. You want to make sure you do that before you start unhooking everything. So we'll do that now. Next, we turn off the water to the camper.
Now that we've turned off the water, we flush the excess water out of the toilet to get all of the water out of the lines so the toilet water doesn't splash around and you have a big mess on the floor. So we flush the toilet until it stops running, or you can flush it out of the sinks, but make sure that you get every little bit. See how it collects water down there, and you want to get all of that out, and it keeps running. You just collect it and flush. Next step is to turn off all the appliances. So we're gonna turn off our fridge because that is on. So all you have to do is press the button there, and then we're gonna go over to our panel here and we're gonna turn off the electric water heater. That's all that we have on right now. All the lights are off. Gonna be off.
Next, we turn off the propane. I actually don't have the propane on right now, but you just lift this lid and turn these both tight. I actually only keep these on when we're using the gas, and we weren't using the gas today, so these were already off. But just turn those tight and then flip these back down, and these flip back on. So we turned off the water earlier, but now we disconnect everything, both water and electric now. I usually do water first because that tote goes farther into the storage. And then with your hoses, you'll want to lift one side up to get all the water to go out the other end, and then I just roll it up. And I can put this tote away. Next is electric. You usually disconnect this from the pole first. And then when you disconnect these, you pull this out just so you don't bend your plug. And same with this one. This also has a little thing you pull up. Make sure you pull them straight out. And then we just put these in the tote and put the tote back in the storage.
Next step is to close the vents and windows. So you're gonna turn your fan off, and then you're gonna put the vent thing down and make sure you push it up to lock it. And then we're gonna go close all the windows, make sure all the windows are closed, nice and tight. We already have that window and this window closed, and the exit window and above the bunk. So all windows and vents are closed. Next, we're gonna turn the TV antenna to travel position. On here it says rotate for travel and shows an arrow, and we're gonna turn it all the way until it stops and then let go. So you push up, push, and then turn. The next step is to secure all items in the trailer so nothing falls or breaks. And one thing that we have always is the hand dispenser and the thing. And there's nothing on the tables. And then in the bathroom, we put away whatever's out here. And nothing's in the shower. We're gonna make sure that the toilet seat is down. We're gonna fix the toilet paper dispenser, and we just leave it on the floor. We've discovered that it doesn't tip over or anything. And make sure that the door is closed to the bathroom, because we have a shelf on there. And check the bunks to make sure that they are empty. Or they don't need to be empty, but everything's secure, not near the edge. And this I just leave out because it doesn't move. Next, we're going to bring in our awning. So you're gonna push retract until it's all the way in, and then you're gonna do your slide out in. So make sure that before you push the in, that you check the sides of the slide out to make sure nothing's in the way.
Next, we close the door and steps. First, you want to close the step. And you also want to pull this blue thing out so it has room, and then put it back. And then next, you put this handrail in, and then you close the door. And then lock it.
Next thing we do is remove our wheel locks. Before you remove your wheel locks, make sure that your wheel chocks are still in place so that your trailer cannot roll. To remove the wheel locks, just pull the cap off, put the key in, and turn it around till this pops up. Then you can slide them off.
Now we will be raising the 4 stabilizers.
Next, we remove our hitch lock. So the key goes up and underneath. Then you just spin it till it drops down. This pops off. This pulls out. And then you want to hold on to this as you let this go so it doesn't drop down to the ground. Leave this open because you're going to be hooking the hitch up to that. And unhook the safety chains. And then I usually just put this kind of back together for storage. That slides in there and this just sits back on there. Next, we put the hitch on the tow vehicle. So for ours, I need to remove this little shield by turning these 2 little nuts and pull this shield off. And then my hitch is right here on the ground. I usually leave the pin in and just lift it up, get it started in the hole up to the pin. Then take the pin out and I can just kind of shake it forward until it gets lined up with the hole. Put the pin back in and lock it in place. And then I make sure that the sway bars are wide enough that they're not going to hit the trailer when I back up. Next, we need to raise the trailer high enough using the jack so that it's higher than the hitch ball so we can back up and hook on. So I'm going to use the extend button on the jack. Now I'll back the vehicle up underneath the tongue so we can hook it up. But I always have a spotter back here just to tell me how far to go back.
Keep going back, like a foot. Keep going, 2 more inches. A little bit more. You're good.
So once we're on the hitch, we need to close the hitch ball lock and put our thing in there so that can't come undone. And then what we need to do is raise the trailer back up because we need to hook on our anti-sway bars. Once it's high enough, you push in both sway bars and put the pins in, both sides. Now that we're hooked up to the tow vehicle, we can raise the jack all the way up. Okay. Now we need to hook up our safety chains and our emergency brake line. So you want to take your chains and cross them underneath. So the farther chain to the right, I'm going to bring over to the left side, and the chain that was on the left side of the trailer, I take to the right side of the vehicle. This is our emergency brake line that just hooks on there. Once that's all in place, we then need to hook up our electric brake controller. So that goes in first, push it all the way in. And then the trailer hookup plugs into the electric brake controller. Now we can remove the wheel chocks from both sides of the camper. So when we were first hitching up the camper, I did put the emergency brake on in the vehicle. I did forget to mention that. Now we're in the vehicle, we can start to move the camper because we have it all hooked up, and we remove the wheel chocks. So I do need to disengage the parking brake. The other thing I need to do with this vehicle is switch to tow mode, so I'll do that now. And then before I get going, I want to check that the brakes and the blinker and stuff work. So usually I just have someone go behind the camper, and then I can see in our backup camera when I do them, and they can just give me a thumbs up that it's working. I do, you know, right blinker, left blinker, and brakes just to make sure all that's working. I also need to load up my brake controller app. So our vehicle does not have an integrated brake controller. We use an electronic brake controller that Bluetooths to my phone. So you definitely want to load that up, and you want to test your brakes as you start driving. We didn't need to level the trailer side to side because we were on a cement slab, but once you do pull forward, if you have anything under the wheels to keep it level, you'll want to pick those up at this time. It always is good too to just kind of do a walk around right before you leave to make sure there's nothing else laying on the ground that you either forgot to pick up or that you need to pick up after you move the camper. So one of the final things to do is just lock up all your compartments before you drive off. I usually do that last just in case I need to get out any tools or if there's anything I forgot to put away. The checklist we went over today is what we came up with for our camper and our tow vehicle. Yours will probably be slightly different, so make sure you adjust accordingly. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thanks for watching.